Okay, so hello, hi, welcome back to the Brownskin Blueprint. Shawana, do we introduce ourselves anymore? I feel like I asked this all the time.
We don't.
She really don't be saying no names. So I'm Brittany.
And I'm Shawana.
And today we have a special guest. We have Joy here. And Joy, I will let you introduce yourself because I don't want to mess nothing up or leave nothing out.
Yes. So yeah, hi everybody. My name is Joy. I am 32 years old and I am a narcissist abuse coach. I'm originally from Delaware. I have lived around many places, but I'm currently here in Illinois, and I have been helping people with narcissistic abuse since 2016, and here we are now in 2022. So yeah, a little bit about me.
That's dope.
So that is going to be our topic today. And I'm narcissistic is one of my words I can't say, so I'm gonna tear that up the whole episode. But we are talking about narcissistic abuse. So Joy is just gonna walk us through some stuff. She's gonna give us some advice. She's gonna tell us some signs. We just gonna go through the whole thing. So Shawana, you wanna go to the first bullet point?
Sure. So Joy, not my phone, going to sleep. What exactly, if you could give our listeners just a visual, what exactly is narcissistic abuse and what led you on the path to becoming a narcissistic abuse coach?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So narcissistic abuse is basically, it's a type of an emotional abuse where the abuser only cares about themselves. And they may actually use words and actions to manipulate their partner in behavior and also their emotional state. So they'll do and say things to make their partner uncomfortable, upset, that kind of thing. And with me, on how I was led down this path was, as I mentioned, I was from Delaware. But at age 17, I did move to California. I lived in California for 11 years. And the first 5 years of the time while living there, I lived with my aunt. And I didn't know she was a narcissist until after the fact, once I moved away from her and with no contact. And also while living with her during that 5-year period of time, I started connecting and dating a guy online via Twitter. And it turns out that he was actually a narcissist also, unfortunately. But I dealt with him for about 4 years. And that kind of led me to the path of doing coaching because I was so hurt and heartbroken and I didn't know who to turn to. And I felt like if I shared my story, then it could help other people. So.
Ooh, wow.
I can
yeah, it's a lot.
Being able to take it and tell the story because, some people internalize that and they go on through life believing false things about themselves that is nowhere near true.
Right.
So for you to be able to recognize that this is narcissism and I'm sure there were things you had to heal through and process and stuff like that. But the fact that you were able to come on the other side and then help other people, because I probably could have used you in my marriage.
Right.
Definitely. So yeah.
With that being said, with you, having personal experience and then becoming a coach, what are signs or what are red flags even that can help people identify a narcissist, or maybe they're reflecting on old relationships or old broken friendships or family relationships and they're like, I'm wondering if I was dealing with a narcissist. So what should people look for? What are signs?
Yes, that's a really good question. So narcissists, they all kind of behave the same way. Some of them are very subtle, some of them are overt, but some of the things that I recognized, they have a victim mentality, a lot of them. They play the victim a lot. They have this really fake persona, this fake grandiosity of themselves that they are, superior than other people. They have a big sense of entitlement in their life and over other people's lives, that they feel like they deserve, more than, the average person. They blame, other people for their own mistakes, and they don't take responsibility for anything, no accountability whatsoever. And they're very controlling, very manipulative, very deceitful, and they lack the ability to love. There's no empathy there, and they make you question your judgment a lot. And they also have this need for a constant praise and attention, and like they need to be like told like, oh, you're doing awesome. Like they need that, you know what I mean? Of course we all want that, but it's like that's a need, and it can get draining for those that are around them, because they're like, oh my God, like I need to do all this stuff and I'm feeling drained, you know what I mean? So that they need that from their supplies. So
this is a follow-up question I had. Out of the stuff you named, or stuff that either you've experienced or people that you work with have experienced, what's one of the like character traits that's kind of subtle? Like people, like they really wouldn't be like, oh, they're a narcissist because they have this trait, but in reality, like it's something, bigger there, but it's kind of like one of those covert things that you're kind of like, I didn't even know that was a thing, but it is.
I would say probably love bombing. Love bombing is a pretty good, well, not good, but it's something that narcissists do a lot. And it's usually in the beginning, like where they're treating you really, really nice, but it's only for them to, get you addicted to them and loving on them. And it's not genuine, right? They're showing you all this attention, all this affection, putting you on that pedestal, making you feel like, you can do no wrong, and they put you in this high regard. And then you find out that was not even real. They was just using that against you, so that's kind of a subtle thing. Because, in the beginning of a relationship, like, yeah, we all want to make a good impression on each other. We want to be liked and loved. But with the narcissist, it's very manipulative, it's very cunning, it's very deceptive, and it's used as a form of control also. So yeah.
So I'm triggered. I'm
have mercy.
I'm very much.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's okay. It's okay because it's a full moon today. There's a full moon today, and truth revelations.
Okay.
I just feel like, see Brittany waving, because that's how I feel. It's hot.
Right.
She knows exactly who I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Like even what you saying in the beginning, the love bomb. Oh my God. So my question is, and this is just like me trying to get insight. So would you say that narcissists love to gaslight?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is the form of abuse. Like that is what they do. They want to make you question your reality. They don't want you to trust yourself. They want you to doubt yourself, doubt what it is that you're seeing with your own two eyes, what you're thinking with your mind. They don't want you to trust that, because they use that against you, especially like when you should leave the relationship, you don't, because they kind of set you up to be like questioning yourself, like, wait, should I leave? Should I not? Are they really abusing me? Are they really mistreating me? That kind of thing. So it's very deceptive, and it's harmful, so.
Yeah, using your gifts and just your intuition and making you feel like you don't know anything. Like,
yes,
girl. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is.
Thank
crazy.
God for deliverance.
Okay, listen. So with all that being said, so say like a person is either in a relationship or they realize like it's a family member, like you experienced with your aunt, like they're in it and they're like, oh my God, like I'm dealing with a narcissist, like this might not get any better. Like how do you go about like getting out of situations like that? Because I'm a firm believer in, I hate when people tell people to just walk away when they're dealing with any kind of abuse, because it's just not that simple. So like what advice or what should you do when you find yourself in that situation?
So when you're in a situation and like the person is an abuser or toxic, harmful, I would say, of course, it's not going to be easy to leave. You have to plan it out. You have to be strategic, And you have to think, okay, like, how can I become independent of this person? Like, how can I make it so that I don't have to depend on them for anything, like literally, you know? And that just starts with you brainstorming and saying, okay, like, I need to plan to move. I need to change my number. I need to block them from social media. And please don't tell them, because they're going to try to stop you. And that could be for family too, because family, you do have some narcissistic family members. But you also do want to understand that you are in a dangerous situation and you have to protect yourself. You have to protect your family if you have kids with them also. But definitely seek support, seek professional help, you know, talk to a coach, a counselor, a mentor, or whatever. Don't be afraid. Don't feel like you're weak, because I do know that a lot of people that reached out to me, you know, said that they felt weak by asking help, and I'm like, it's not weak. It's actually a sign of strength, you know. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people do have that belief that it's weak to ask for help. But I would also say, you know, again, try not to be so hard on yourself. Write down your reasoning for leaving. I think that's really good, because it's also like, you know, kind of like your to help you to keep going forward and be like, okay, this is why I'm leaving. I'm being abused. I'm not happy. I'm not getting my needs met. You could see that, understanding that you're not gonna get any apologies from this person. Don't expect any sympathy. Don't expect them to understand where you're coming from. They're not gonna understand. And just remember, you just got to keep going forward and moving away from them. And it's not gonna be easy. It's not, but you know, in due time, you'll understand. You know.
So, okay, we talk about apologies and apologizing a lot on this podcast. Like, I feel like that comes up all the time. Mm-hmm. And I was watching one of your old videos, and I thought it was so interesting, because I was like, I feel like I'm being read. You were talking about how, you know, when dealing with a narcissist, sometimes you're put in a position where you feel like you need to apologize, even though you have not done anything wrong. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, where that comes from, the need to almost feel like, let me say I'm sorry, even though I know in my hearts of heart, I probably have not done anything, but it just seems like the right thing to do. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think it comes just from us being like, you know, empathic people, good-hearted people. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want people to be upset with us, and we want to keep the peace, you know, and we just feel like we have to come in there and fix it, and we have to save the day. And I just think that that's not something that we should do. Some of us we feel like we have to take care of other people or fix them. But I think if we can kind of get out of that mentality of thinking that way, I think that can help, because, you know, you're only responsible for yourself. You're not responsible for fixing other people or making them treat us better. It's like, if a person is showing you, if a person is showing you who they are, they're showing you the disrespect, you can't fix that. It's clear they're showing you how they feel about you. So it's not our job to go and try to make somebody apologize, or for us to do that. No, they need to do that if they, you know, realize that they did something wrong. But obviously the narcissist is not going to do that, because, as we mentioned before, the science is that they don't even acknowledge anything that they've done wrong. They don't accept accountability. So it's not going to happen.
So I have a question. So it's not personal. Okay.
This is a little deep. Okay.
Right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to be too deep. My bad.
It's very enlightening though. Like,
it is.
Like, really enlightening.
So
to put a personal spin on it, I did deal with a narcissist for like a mass majority of my 20s. So I know that one thing, being somebody who had to like heal through that stuff, identity becomes like an issue. Like, you kind of got to remember who you are. You got to remember your powers, your strengths. So being that you now you specialize in helping people with who deal with narcissism, can you say, do you have any insight on why narcissists, like, their identity issues? Because it's my belief that they're that way because their issues are rooted in their identity, which in turn is why the person who's being abused develops identity issues when they might not have before. So my question is, what insight do you have on why narcissists choose, you know, the tactics that they use, and what issues they may be having internally to make them be the way that they are?
Yeah, so some issues that they may be having, I think, are definitely rooted in insecurity, codependency. Narcissists are actually very insecure.
Yep.
They're very, very insecure. And they feel, most of them, a lot of people don't even know this, but narcissists, they don't think highly of themselves at all. I know it may come off as they do, because some narcissists, I would say some of them are pretty smart. It's crazy. Like, you have some of them that are smart, and then others of them are just kind of like, yeah, why did you just do that or say that? But I think in the end, it's because most narcissists do end up alone. They do a lot of projecting on their victims. And so however they are feeling about themselves, they project it onto those that are closest to them, right? So if they feel like crap, they're going to make you feel like crap. If they're unhappy and sad, they're going to make you feel that way. So it's just, that's a part of the abuse, the projection, the gaslighting, giving the silent treatment, giving the cold shoulder, or, that kind of thing, or stonewalling, that type of stuff. So I just think it's just about how the narcissist feels about them. So they just project that on to us. But I think for us victims and survivors, I think it's our duty not to take that personal, not to internalize it. So after we do stop dealing with them, we know, like, although we do have inner work and healing to do, we have to realize that it wasn't our fault.
Right.
We were a victim of that. We didn't, like a lot of us, myself, I didn't know that my aunt was a narcissist. I didn't know that the guy that I dealt with was a narcissist. I had no clue. But once I found out, I did feel bad about myself. I felt worthless. I did. And nobody knew that. But once I came out and spoke out, I was like, okay, I feel better, because my message, it was helping other people that was like, struggling to leave a relationship. They're like, oh, I saw your video and it really did help me make that decision, or I'm contemplating and I'm making a plan to leave that relationship, so yeah.
I know I've observed too with narcissists, there's a false sense of confidence, but then there's a false sense of humility too. I know the one that I was dealing with, like around certain people, I mean, just fake humble, talking the most cash once they got home though. But it's like just identity issues on every end. Like all of it is just projection and what they would like to be perceived as. But it's like you said, like the one at home, we get all of it. Like we see it all. So some people be like, nah, I would never know that this person acted that way. Like literally like talking about a totally different person to somebody that they've known for years. That used to blow me. Somebody you've known for 9 years don't even know you. Like, it's crazy because they believe the projection that you've given.
Yeah, and I'll just add in my aunt. I actually, I knew she was a narcissist, but I didn't know the type of narcissist that she was. And I know that she's a somatic narcissist. So those are the ones that really care about their appearance. And I mean, on the outside, she had it all. Like, we lived in a decent neighborhood back in Orange County, well, living in LA. And, she had the home, and she had the marriage, the money and all that stuff. But behind closed doors, she was miserable. Like, she hated her career. She was always complaining about her boss, and it was just something every day. But then when we go out in the world, it's like, oh, we're this perfect family. But all in all, I'm just saying is that it's all about appearance. It's not about reality. It's about that false sense of self, that grandiose, that they have all this payment power and success, and it's not really real.
And I did have a question that kind of related to Shawana's, kind of sort of. So you had it was like an old video, like 4 years ago, and this was, oh my God, this just hit home because it's family related. Like, I had to call my husband after. I was like, yo, this is such and such. But anyway, you were basically saying how, like, sometimes people will feel away when narcissists move on because they feel like, they present happy and like they've made this change, and, it leaves the victim feeling like, why couldn't they change for me? Or like they just moved on, like nothing happened. And I love that you use the phrase that they found like a new supply. And I was telling my husband, I was like, yo, that is such and such. Like, they're not like happy. They just find new people to like either be miserable with or like to do the same shit with. But, you know, on the outside, it looks like, oh my God, they just living it up. They having this great time. But it's like, in reality, ain't nothing changed. They're the same person. They just doing it to somebody else. So I just want you to, it's just one person. I just need to hear this. But I just want you to talk about it, because when you explain like them using like people as like a supply, I was like, oh my God, that is so true.
Yes.
We got double.
Yeah. So when the narcissist has a new supply and you broke up with them and they're off to another person, they are just with another victim. Like another person that's going to be used and mistreated. Yeah, it'll be nice in the beginning, but after a short period of time, the mask is going to come off. And, you know, that person, it depends, you know, that new supply can be okay with the abuse, which I highly doubt, but they may not know what it is. They may not know they may not understand it. So they may stay, you know, but it's not saying that they're happy, you know, they're just with each other, you know? So it happens all the time. You know, narcissists cannot be alone. They can't. You know, they need that constant attention. They need that constant admiration. They need someone to, you know, feel to, what do you call it? To give them that false ego, that false praise, that false attention, you know? So
it's crazy because they're so self-centered. So how you can't be by yourself?
Girl.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's very crazy, very self-centered. You wouldn't think that they're that way, but they really are. They're actually codependent, which means they actually they need to have someone in their life in order for them to function. Like they need that. Like that's an actual need for them. Like if they're alone, they're miserable. I mean, they're miserable anyway, but they're like, oh, misery loves company. Like, you know what I mean? So that's their mentality. It's really, really, really sad. And people ask me all the time, they're like, oh, are narcissists made or born that way? I'm like, no, like narcissists are not born that way, or people are not born narcissists. Like they're made that way and they just decide that that's the way they're going to be. And my thing is, it's like, we all have choices. They decided to be that way. You know, I mean, I could have been a narcissist, but no, I decided that I wanted to not allow a negative situation to change me for the worse. But narcissists decide that that's who they're going to be. And I'm like, that's their decision. So it has nothing to do with me, you know?
I feel like narcissists deal with a lot of abandonment early on. I feel like a lot of abandonment early on. And if it's not treated properly, it turns into narcissism. Like I know who Brittany is thinking about on her side, but I got two on mine. One of them is the same sign as yours. And it's sad. It's really sad, but it's kind of scary at the same time too.
I think the unfortunate part is, sorry, Shawana,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think the unfortunate part is, like, Joy, even just you saying like about the choices they made, because it's so true. I mean, I feel like it's stuff that we all like aren't proud of, or stuff that we deal with. But even just thinking about like the one I'm thinking about and the stuff that they've done to other people, things they said, times that like life has literally flashed before their eyes, it's almost like they are so resistant to change. And even the other ones I know, it's just like there has never even been like the slightest genuine sign of, you know what, I am like not gonna do this anymore, I'm gonna get some help. Like I know, like it's like it's never ending, and it really makes you wonder, like, yo, when are you gonna get tired of doing this shit? Like you are literally miserable, you're losing people left and right, but you just refuse to do anything about it. Like it is mind-blowing to me.
No growth
at all. Yeah, I mean, and my thing is, it's just like, hey, that's the path they chose. You know, we can all, you know, we have that opportunity to change and grow and evolve and expand, but they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. So
that's scary. I know one other thing I noticed. When narcissists lie, there's no mood effect. So you really don't know. It's like they believe their lies. So it's you really don't know that. And the passive, my favorite word, Brittany, the passive. Oh God.
Yeah, they're pathological liars.
Literally.
Very passive aggressive, very you know, so you got to be careful. And you know, it's scary to be around them, especially the covert ones, because they come off as just so charming and so charismatic and like very likable, respectable person, you know, and it's just literally the complete opposite. Like, it's just the scariest thing. It's like, I mean, you will, the longer you are around them, you're going to see it come off. But it's only the mask is going to come off only to those that's closest to them. So like their partner, certain family members and certain friends. But other people, again, as we mentioned earlier, like on the outside, they don't know nothing about that. They have not seen that person whatsoever. So
which is scary, because both of y'all said it. It's like if we was to describe one we know and somebody else that know them from like church or like something else, they'll be like, oh, they are just so sweet. They help me. And you're like, who is doing that?
And it make you seem like you're the crazy one. They'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, what? They would never do that. Like, nope, yes, they would. But see, we come off crazy because we would probably be the only ones saying it. Because a lot of victims and survivors, after we deal with that, they don't really speak out. They don't say anything about it. They kind of hold it all in, and they like, oh, it's my fault. I did something wrong. I need to apologize. I need to change. But no, like, this person is an abuser, you know? So yeah.
Shoot, I know it goes deep with some family members, like cousins and stuff. Family members don't know that person is that way.
Exactly.
I had that experience recently, like crazy, like just crazy stuff. So
girl, and be taken up for them. But anyway. Like, what? So, I guess to close out the episode, moving forward after dealing with a narcissist. So, you know, we already kind of touched on some things you can do to kind of, you know, prepare to get out. So once you're out and, you know, you're dealing with the self-esteem, the feeling like, you know, oh my God, how did I let that happen to myself? How, like, what advice do you have on like moving forward after you have experienced a narcissist or live with them, been with them, whatever the case may be?
Yes, absolutely. That's a wonderful question. I would definitely say start educating yourself. That's definitely what I did. I started educating myself on, you know, abuse, narcissistic abuse, PTSD, CPTSD. I definitely did grieve a lot. So I highly recommend feeling your feelings, which I know that's difficult because a lot of us, we don't want to feel our feelings, you know, because, you know, we may think that crying is weak or whatever, but definitely express yourself, right, in a healthy way. I would highly recommend going into counseling, as I mentioned before, or coaching or therapy. Highly, highly recommend therapy, and someone that's actually specialized in trauma, you know, therapy or narcissistic abuse therapy, you know, self-esteem and all that stuff. And also learn about what it means to love yourself. Like start practicing, make that an everyday thing, slowly but surely. Because I know like a lot of us, especially for me, I didn't love myself. I have to be honest, I didn't even know what that meant. And I had to like slowly but surely spend time by myself to get to know what that meant, you know, to really appreciate and value myself as a spirit, as a soul, you know, and, you know, learn about my values and my self-worth, what was important for me in my life, and also in relationships, what I expect from myself and what I would expect from a partner, you know, and I had to forgive myself. I had to forgive my parents. Now, when it comes to the narcissist, some people say they don't forgive the narcissist. Me personally, I would say I do forgive them, but I would obviously never, ever talk to them. And that does include my aunt. And I know that may sound harsh, but that's just that was my experience. That's my experience. I'm just saying. But yeah, but definitely give yourself time to heal. Try not to date right away. That's not a good thing to do. But definitely learn about, yourself. Also start to focus on yourself. So like focus on your goals and your dreams and hobbies and things that interest you. And even if you don't know what that is, start trying new things, try new activities, become a kid again almost. You know how kids are so curious about things, get curious. Travel if you're able to do so. Just, you have to take the focus off of the narcissist, because we've kind of, in a sense, we've been programmed to be focused on them. And now you have to bring that focus back onto yourself. And I know that it can feel uncomfortable.
It's so hard.
It can be uncomfortable, but we really have to do that. And also just a few more things. You have to set boundaries, right? Set boundaries for yourself. So again, go little to no contact, because I understand with family members that might be slightly different, because we have some folks that actually live with them. So again, just distance yourself if you're actually living with a narc parent. Try not to allow them to be too much in your personal life, because they want to be in your personal life. But start to save up your money. Do what you got to do, because again, you have to learn how to be independent of these individuals, because the whole point, because they're codependent, they want you to be codependent on them. Especially the parents, they want to keep you as a child for life. I know it's sad, but they want to keep you like in your teenage self. So you have to learn how to be an adult. So that's what I would say. Yeah, I would say don't give up on yourself. I know that, and this is not a lot of the times, but you do have some people that do, unfortunately, commit suicide after dealing with narcissistic people. So I would just say don't give up on your life. You are important, and because it's saying that sometimes people can hear it, but it's like it's hard to believe it, especially after you've been through an abusive relationship like this. So, just really try to talk to yourself and say affirmations and journal, write down, your feelings. As I said, you really have to, whether it's crying or however, or if you get angry, but you have to express yourself in a healthy way, if that makes sense, so.
I had to become okay with crying again. Brittany, to tell you, I hate crying. I can't stop.
You hate crying?
No.
I know it's
not now though. It's okay.
It's you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah,
you have to be vulnerable, and a lot of people don't want to be vulnerable. But for me, I feel like that's the key to healing, because that's your expression. That's you being yourself, and you're acknowledging your feelings. Because the thing with a narcissist is that they don't like people around them being themselves. You are not allowed to have your own identity when you're around the narcissist. You have to be like them. You have to think like them. You have to say things like them. You have to be like a clone. And it's like when you cry, narcissists don't have emotions, by the way.
Not at all.
The only emotions that they feel is anger, jealousy, and fear. That's it. They can't cry. They can't be happy. And that's why a lot of them, they hate empaths, because we can feel those emotions, but they can't. You know what I mean? So you have to express however you feel. And I'm gonna be honest, like I cried a lot. When I went no contact with my male narc, I expressed myself a lot. And that was at a point in time where I was by myself. And I remember every day for 6 months straight, I would cry every morning. And I don't think it was just because of the relationship that I had with the narc. I think it was other things that kind of added on to that. Yeah. Also childhood traumas, and that's like for a whole nother topic. But I think that did help me, because it allowed me to express myself, and I could just I felt like, okay, I'm being myself. I can feel these feelings, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay to feel this way. But as I said, when you are around a narcissist, you're not allowed to be yourself. You're not validated in any way. Like everything is wrong with you, so you start to question yourself, that's that self-image thing coming up, so just express yourself as much as you can and talk to someone. Please talk to someone. That's I highly, highly recommend.
If any of our listeners were just on and just heard that, and you may be feeling like you are suicidal, there is help. The helpline for that is 1-800-273-8255. Please reach out to somebody who, you know, cares about you, or that you feel safe with. Like, don't, you know, if you're feeling like you've exhausted options, there are those out there. So, you know, do contact that line. We'll have it pop up on the video somewhere. But yes, we do want you to get the help that you need. This is not the end, you know, for you. It's just the start of a new beginning. It's just going to take some time. So life is worth it.
Yes, yeah. Love it.
Well, so yeah, Joy, you've been a light to my whole day. I'm just letting you know that right now. Damn. It's like knowing somebody or something, but hearing you like break it down like that, I literally feel like I just been stuck this whole.
Really? Oh my god! And that's what I'm like
the videos. I was like, now I got so. I was like, okay, now what in the world? No, for real. Knowing somebody, and I think it's the whole, like, the image and what they portray. So, like, having to think about, like, the other side to them, it is just, like, mind-blowing, because you're like, oh, my God, they are, like, miserable and they suck, but the world sees them as just, like, they're just so awesome. They're wonderful and amazing, and they're not, but whatever.
Jesus Christ.
Well, we hope this episode blessed y'all, like it blessed us, because honey, yeah. Joy, go ahead and tell us go ahead and plug yourself, your usernames, your IG name, your web, whatever, go ahead and drop it.
Yes, ma'am. So if you guys would love to connect with me, which I would love to connect with anybody listening, you can reach me at my website, which is www.livenarcfree.com. So that's LIVENARCFREE.com. Or you can send me an email at livenarcfree9@gmail.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. You can also find me on there at livenarcfree. So would love to hear from any of you. So.
Well, Joy, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on. We have to have you back again. I'm like, what else can we do?
I would love it. Let's do it again.
Everything. So we want to thank our listeners, as always, for tuning in. Make sure you're following us on our social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's all Brownskin Blueprint. You can find us on most streaming platforms. Make sure you're following the YouTube page and subscribe as well. Make sure you get tapped in with Joy. She has so much information that I know that we all can benefit from. So yeah, like, we hope that you stay light. Again, if you are feeling hopeless, call that hotline, reach out to somebody who you feel like has a listening ear, and just my prayer is that you all just take some type of hope from this, because there is life on the other side of, you know, living with a narcissism. So thank you, Joy. Brittany, do you have anything?
I don't. I feel like everything that needed to be said has been said.
All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.